Saturn transiting Saturn. This is called in astrology Saturn return. And it happens once every 29, 28 years. And every person, when they're from the 29th to the 30th year, the latest, they experience this process. They experience this Saturn return. It means that the moment you are born, Saturn was in certain position in the sky. And 29 years later, usually approximately, sometimes a year before, a year after, Saturn comes back to the same position in your horoscope. And this is considered a maturation, astrologically speaking. This is when the Saturn return is when, esoterically speaking, a person finally becomes an adult. Actually, when you're in your 20s, you think you're an adult. You think you're an adult after 21. It's not so. You're only an adult in the full sense of the word after 29, after your Saturn return. And often before Saturn return, before 30, 29, 30, people with stronger Saturn in their horoscope, say they have more Capricorn or Aquarius in their horoscope, or they have a strong Saturn, like Saturn in the first house, or certain Saturnian themes in their horoscope. Often people, basically, if you have a strong Saturnian theme in your horoscope, like a strong Saturn, or Saturn on an angle, or whatever, or Capricorn or Aquarius, strong, these people usually they're not so successful in the first, before their Saturn return. Usually they're a bit karmically blocked because Saturn is a karmic planet, and before their 30th or 29th, 28th year, they're a bit blocked still. They have to pay back for some old past life mistakes. Saturn shows where you've made mistakes in the past and where you have to be delayed until you're allowed to get, a positive developments in that area of your life. So you have to develop patience in that area. You have to pay back a bit. So, if you've been delayed in a certain area of your horoscope, usually when 28 or 29 come, and if you haven't succeeded in certain areas in your life, after that, when the Saturn return comes, you're karmically released to be able to have more productive and successful manifestation of that area of your life. Usually, now of course, your personal horoscope has to be analyzed to give you exactly an example and to tell you where it's going to be happening. But often, if you've seen that your life didn't work out before 28, 29, that you were a bit of a loose cannon, just like I was. I have a Saturnian horoscope with an Aquarius ascendant and a strong Saturn. Till 28, 9, I didn't have a career. I didn't have anything sorted out, no serious, like just drifting from relationship to relationship. If you felt like your life is like that, when you come to a Saturn return in your 28, 29th year, usually you sort yourself out then, and you start to give better results. And any Saturn return, whether it's in your 29th year, whether it's in your 59th year, the second Saturn return, or the third one, if you're lucky, in your late 80s, but usually people tend to have two Saturn returns. It's a period of basically reassessment of the life before, reassessment of the previous 29 years, 28, 29 years of the previous cycle, and saying to yourself, well, okay, till now I was doing life till this way, now I'm gonna get serious and I'm gonna get much more mature, and I'm gonna start doing things better. So you kind of become all of a sudden more responsible, more mature. I've seen a lot of people after turning 28, 29 turn their life around. If they've been in career which make them unhappy, they turn their lives around as well. Often for many countries, late 50s, when the second Saturn return happens, is period of retirement. And people start thinking of the third part of their life, planning the next 30 years away, 30 years ahead, how they're going to spend them. So it's like a turning point in your life, this Saturn return, whether in your late 20s or your late 50s. You feel you're turning a stone, you have to make changes, and you start getting rid of the things which are no longer necessary. So usually for the younger people, in the late 20s, they become much more serious, they mature, they cut off the old relationships, which if they didn't have commitments till then, or if they were like carefree, they start becoming more serious in that area of life. They might start committing more to things. They might all of a sudden, usually Saturn makes you do these changes by becoming very self-critical and negative about, appraising yourself and saying, oh my God, it's getting late, I have to make changes, there is no time, I'm no longer 22, 3, I can't just party around and have fun. This is when people become more serious, more responsible, no longer just going club to clubs, jumping from relationship to relationship. They try and make something more committed, whether it's in relationship, in their career. Maybe they change to a career which they think is more suited to themselves. This is when I started my business in astrology. This is why I finally became serious. Before that, I was like always thinking, oh, there is enough time. And people in the late 50s, when the second Saturn return is, as I said, they see, well, till now I was living life like this. Now, what is necessary to stay in my life, and what can I throw out of my life, which will be supportive for which is not supportive for me for the next 30 years ahead, So there is a bit of a, as I said, it's a turning stone. So it can be out. I'm telling you that it wasn't an easy part when I went through this Saturn return, because reassessment, reevaluation, and committing to something is always a process that is stimulated by some negative feelings and feelings of lack and inadequacy and disappointment with yourself. So the inner resistance can be can be strong, especially in more carefree people. But eventually, you make some of the best changes in your life during this period. And whether it's the latter or the earlier period, you get rid of a lot of things and leave just the most necessary things and qualities in your life, which will be there to support you for the next 29 years in your life. And as I said, it can be career changes. Saturn naturally rules effort, career, and work, and Saturn return will make you change your career. Very often will make you redirect or reconsider or put more effort and somehow become more responsible in that area. Saturn is authority, higher authority, and how you deal with that. So, you can have some lessons to do with authority as well during this period. And it is actually, for me, it was a very positive period with a lot of inner resistance and crying because I didn't want to grow, but the results were amazing after that. So I'm wishing the same to all of you. Please share your stories of your Saturn return. What happened? How did you change? Was it a turning period in your life? How did it make you grow? Did it make you take a grip of your life? That's what Saturn wants you to become self-sufficient. Saturn is a period of maturation. It tells you enough of the silly play around, it's time, now. And please share. Also, I'd love especially to ask those of you who have the second Saturn return to share their stories, what happened in their life, so they can help others prepare mentally, because I've never been through the second Saturn return. So you tell us what happens in the latter part of life, in the later part, in your late 50s, when Saturn makes a return in your chart, and what psychological and emotional and outside changes happen in your world. How do you deal with the themes of security? Saturn is the planet of security, so in your life it becomes at the forefront of the mind, the focus on security, focusing on securing the future, and bringing more stability in your life. This is what Saturn returns are all about. Thank you.